you say that this is a mirror of what we're living in our broader society?
I feel like sports, politics, and culture always intersect. I think the story of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the rivalry, which really isn't a bad rivalry or a true rivalry on the court, is a good thing. I understand that both of these young ladies, and I'll relate it to the race in just one moment. Both of these young ladies were already defined, and they already had to play roles before they even stepped on the court, just based on where they come from, how they were raised, and how they conduct themselves. So when we see Angel Reese doing the "you can't see me" ring finger to Caitlin Clark, the optics of this black girl really taunting this white girl was hard for all of America to see. They're like, how dare, how dare? But that is a rite of passage. When you win, that's how you play sports. You have the right to trash talk. But the reason why this relationship, this rivalry is so compelling is because it's what this country is built on. It's black and white. Yeah. And if people want to be interested in black and white, take a look at the race. When did the race get really interesting? When a black woman entered the race. And then now we have all of these conversations about whether or not Kamala is black enough. Is she too black? Was she doing things she wasn't supposed to be? And there are all of these racial issues that are coming up that have nothing to do with the election, and that is exactly what's happening with this.
I don't think people even know what Caitlin Clark's politics are.
Well, they got a glimpse. Well, by the way, no, I don't even think her liking a post suggests that she's endorsing
let me just explain, because I think if anybody missed it, Taylor Swift did her post endorsing Kamala Harris and encouraging people to vote. Caitlin Clark liked this post, which caused a huge uproar because I think people assumed that she was, because she's white, that she is conservative or Republican. I don't know.
But it wasn't just that, though. I think the issue is that there were a lot of people who called themselves fans of Caitlin Clark's, and frankly, and I know you found this, Carrie, that the reason that they became so vocal about their fandom of her was because they were using her as a wedge and a weapon against the black women in the league.
And they co-opted the narrative because the league, the WNBA, is a league of LGBTQIA. Like you just don't want to. A third of the league is, and they're black women, and you can't really market that to America. So here you have this woman from Iowa who they think is hetero and living the life that she is supposed to live, and accordingly, and doing all the things that represents basketball.
So we've just projected all this.
We have projected. I think that's
onto these basketball players.
Couldn't it just be that Caitlin Clark is like one of the most talented
women
talented.
Basketball
players
there's no question
in the history of the country? She comes on, she does amazing things, and then people say people say all of a sudden I'm now interested in something I wasn't before. Look at the attendance, look at the viewership, and then they watch the games. And she's constantly being abused. She was stabbed in the eye last night.
She was not stabbed in the eye. See, that's what I'm talking about. And by the way, why don't you bring up that elbow that she gave another player on the court? It was physical.
There's one thing I think we can all agree upon.
She got stabbed in the eye.
Even if people believe that this is a reflection and a microcosm of where the country is, there are really rarely two young women who are doing a better job than the adults in this country, than Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. They are standing, like Caitlin Clark, she had to stand there and not, what was it? She didn't get MVP, she didn't get something, and they were like, all these cameras in her face, and she's a young 20-something woman, and she's like, it makes me want to be better. I want to be a better player. This is, our political leaders could learn more from these two women being able to stand. Oh, I think so. Because you know what?
I want our political leaders to make more waves.
They put it aside and they focus on the win.
One more layer to this discussion, because Caitlin Clark she burns my soul.
Does she now?
And I have to admit that. Because of the simple fact that
I'm okay.
I'm a huge South Carolina Gamecock fan, and Don Staley is like Jesus, Martin Luther King, and Don Staley in my household. But I will say this, Caitlin Clark has done an amazing job at handling the scrutiny and handling the press. And one of the layers that I will add on to this, and it's a little bit different from the way we discuss race in American politics, is that the men who discuss the WNBA, specifically Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, just don't know shit about women's basketball. And when you have that layer of anti-intellectual debate that manifests itself within this discussion, it makes it a cancer. And so, we're having these debates, and so it's not just Scott talking about that she got scratched in the eye, or what did you say?
It was stabbed.
He turned it into a stabbed in the eye. But it's when you're having these robust discussions about who was the best player in the WNBA, or WNBA MVP voting, or who should be in the WNBA finals, and you have these people who just don't know about it but are inserting themselves in the conversation, it provides for a more cancerous narrative than we deserve.
And to add on to that, Bakari, we also should mention that Angel Reese has had to be subjected to an incredible amount of racist abuse because of this rivalry.
Now I got to defend Kim Mulkey and Angel Reese.
But
I didn't say Kim Mulkey.
I think both of these ladies, I think both of the camps, I think camps that love Angel Reese and camps that love Caitlin Clark have been especially nasty to both of these young ladies while trying to defend them. And what they're doing is co-opting their own issues and their beliefs, and they're putting them on these young ladies. And that's when I said it was already decided that Caitlin was going to be America's darling, and that Angel Reese was going to be a villain based on how she conducts herself and based on the way
until she ran against some Gamecocks last year and Raven Johnson.
It's a typecast that fits very conveniently into how society wants to see.
Of course, it's the same thing with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
I think your point about projection is right.
But it helps the sport. You need
totally
inertia.
Competitives. You need a story.
You need this storyline. You need people to
I just
find
look at it didn't come with the toxicity.
But that's what this country's built on, young friend.
It is built on
But
toxicity.
I think your point about projection is right.
last
People
word
are
here.
looking at this as a projection of themselves, and they support one side or the other. The WNBA is having one of their most successful seasons. Women's sport is on the rise, whether it's basketball or soccer. And there are two young women in this country who are standing up and facing the most scrutiny. And they like each other.
And you know what's gonna
celebrate
happen?
women's sports
They
and
live
women's
at
success.
They live at the intersection of unity and also peace because they do enjoy one
They
another.
like each other.
And
We got to
there's
get
this
Kayla some
ownership.
goggles. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
We got to get her some goggles.
Oh my God.
Those eyes.
Yes, I know.
The chaos agent.
It's dangerous out there.